So I've got a question right now, like, is Lincoln gonna try to get revenge? Is he here for Becca? Is he full of love? Is he looking for love? What's really going on? He's showing ingenuity.
Welcome to Bachelorette Party. I'm Juliette Littman. The Bachelorette cast, they didn't know it, but they were going to be inspired by the beef between Drake and Pusha T because it was a week of beefs for Becca and her dudes. We're going to get into it. I am joined today by Ringer staff writer Alyssa Bereznak. Hi, Alyssa.
Hello.
Welcome. This is your first Bachelorette Party appearance, I think.
I'm so honored to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. You wrote about the problem with Garrett, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Very problematic.
You're problematic, not so fave. Just problematic, no fave.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was a good episode, actually. Did you think this was a good episode?
Yeah, I would concur that it was like an excellent episode. So many juicy subplots and really good Becca metallic wear, which we can get into later.
Let's start with the villains and the beefs, because that's what's exciting. I thought that Lincoln, who we met on the after show, he's just been discussed a lot. I thought he was going to be like the big villain of the episode, but I would say he's the third most important villain so far.
Right. I mean, it was sort of like a Simpsons episode where it was like misdirection.
Yes.
Like you think it's about something, but it's not. It's not about Lincoln at all. I mean, Lincoln, so let's talk about what Lincoln did.
Yeah.
He cheated.
He did. So the first group date, the first date of the season.
Not romantically, yeah.
That we know of. The first date of the season was similar to the dad relay they had last year with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. They brought Rachel Lindsay and Brian Absolo, her fiance that she met on the show last season. They brought them in to judge the guys, and it was really good SpawnCon because what happened was Becca brings them to Saddle Rock Ranch, which is like a nice space where our colleague Kevin Clark just got married in Malibu. Yeah, congrats to Kevin. And this was a date clearly sponsored by the Black Tux, which this is a podcast largely sponsored by products that women use. The Black Tux is a really popular sponsor for male focused podcasts, and I think they're also based in LA actually. And anyway, they Becca awaits them wearing a white gown, and then they all put on these tuxes, and for some reason they decided it was a good idea to have them look like grooms and then participate in a really dirty relay race. It was kind of weird.
It was, the whole idea was that at the end of the relay, Becca was standing there ready for them to propose. So I kind of got the wedding thing, but it was also just kind of a waste of a bunch of good texts.
It really was. I was kind of bummed out about it. Also, not really good gear for doing a physical challenge.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get the ambulance scene in that one.
I know. So they do a bunch of challenges that have nothing to do with being a groom, and
they were metaphorical in some ways. Jordan seemed to really understand the metaphors. I didn't so much.
Jordan is such a piece of work. Oh, my God. We're going to talk about him in a minute. But so it comes down to David, the chicken guy, and Lincoln in the final slip and slide, basically. And Lincoln has a slight edge. He actually didn't have an edge going into it, but I can't even keep track.
So he was in an ice cold bucket.
Yes.
Because they all had to stand in an ice cold bucket.
He has an ice bath.
And they had these individual timers where they were timing how long they were in it. Mm-hmm. And there was an accusation that he went he
got out sooner than he was supposed to.
Yeah.
So that gave him a leg up. And then he ended up winning. The final part of this relay was a slip and slide, and he had just had a good dive, basically.
Yeah, and he also apparently sort of pushed David.
He bumped David. So he's a
kind of dirty play.
It was a dirty play, but I kind of like it. All's fair in love and the Bachelorette, you know? And so then he becomes our first villain, basically.
Yeah.
But as a result of him winning, he gets a framed photo of him and Becca.
He's so proud of the photo.
So proud. I don't own a single frame photo that I've ever been that proud of.
Yeah, he was kissing it. He was talking to
it. It was he's definitely really weird.
Definitely. Well, yeah, we all know the rumors.
Yeah, but even just his behavior on the show, he then starts showing off the picture, and the other guys get really mad. And so then while David has been his initial foe, it becomes Connor.
Yes,
because Connor breaks the picture and throws it into the pool.
That was such an amazing moment.
It's just incredibly childish, and these guys didn't seem that drunk.
No, they weren't drunk at all. They were just being immature.
Yeah.
And so, okay, fault to Lincoln because he was bragging and clearly being obnoxious to try and upset the guys.
Yes.
He kept standing the photo on the coffee table, and they kept being don't show that to us. And he was like, what? It's mine. it was just like such a toddler argument. But then like Connor didn't have to throw it in the pool. Like they could have just all chilled. I don't know. The end conclusion to this,
yes,
the next day was you can't touch another man's property.
Yes, let's roll that clip.
Last night was intense. I do feel bad because when I did walk in the kitchen the first thing, to be honest with you, I was laughing. I was like, it's a fucking photo. But I saw like the way you looked at that photo, and it changed everything.
You don't touch another man's property.
Is that like something that everyone knows about?
I've never heard that phrase before.
Adage? You don't touch another man's property?
Yeah, I didn't really get that, but it, like all the men seemed to just like really understand it and like sort of grunt yes, like, oh yeah, you can't touch another man's property. I thought the conclusion would have been like, we both acted immaturely, like let's forget this and move on. But it was very guyish to just be like, yeah, man's property.
Man's property. And it just seemed like it was a line for the cameras or something. Yeah. I wonder if that was fed to him or if he said it off camera at a previous time and they're like, can you repeat that or something like that?
Yeah.
Because it was so staged.
And you didn't see anyone actually say it in the scene.
Yeah. Which is called a Frankenbite. When someone's like, when it's easily like put over B-roll footage or whatever.
Learn something new every day.
I know. It definitely seemed possible. That's the kind of thing that, I actually don't know if it's called a Frankenbite, but I just call it that. Whatever.
That's a genius term for it. You should coin that.
I'm sure I picked it up somewhere. I don't want to take credit, but I bet he said that and like off camera, and the producer's like, let's run that back and like let's use it or something. And then Becca gets really frazzled by this whole situation because Lincoln tattles to her. He goes to her and he's like, I need a new picture, and she's like, why is that? And then she gets really upset. It's like too much drama for her for night one.
Well, I loved her initial reaction to that because she was like, okay, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln seemed really upset that he lost his prized photo. And then she is like, oh, God, like I have to deal with this dumb drama. It's just like really immature.
Yeah. She was not there for it. Although I don't really know what she was expecting. I don't know. Giving out like a gift like that on the date without it going to everyone is just some sort of weird, like it just seems like bad juju. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it was like the producers knew that would happen, or I mean, it's kind of a genius prop idea.
Sure. Usually they do the kind of like fake wedding type of date for the men. I don't remember the women doing it, but like in the past they've like had women put on white gowns and they did that photo shoot like with Nick's season with Corinne. I think that's when he made her like hold her boobs or something.
Yeah, she like took off her top in the pool or something.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone flipped out. This was the kind of like that equivalent to that, basically.
For sure.
And kind of more fun with men fighting with each other than women.
I had a great time watching.
Maybe just because we are women, we feel that way. But I did think it was like, I was like, okay. The only thing is it made me worried for Becca because I don't know about some of these guys.
Yeah, and the way she handled it was she was to Connor, that's who broke the frame, right?
Yes.
She was just like, I can't deal with this right now. Like, it's so dumb that you brought this up. Like, I can't take time to get to know you tonight. And like, I think she kept him maybe because she had to, or maybe she just was like, I'm going to give you another chance. But like by the final rose ceremony pre-cocktail party, they had seemed to make up because he had like come and apologized to her.
Yeah, which I did like. I was like, okay, that's good.
He had his own frame where he threw his picture out.
Yeah, that was cute. That was cute. The prop department's working overtime on this season so far. Also, I like how, we'll talk more about David in a little bit, but David kept referring to himself as like the chicken guy, and I like that his stunt like carried over from night one. He's like, yeah, I'm the chicken guy. That's how everyone's gonna remember me. It's smart branding.
It's really smart branding. It's like you don't get a hashtag on here. That's not showing up beneath your name. So I mean, I have to frequently go back to the bio page, and it's like, I know David. He's the chicken guy.
Totally. He also looks a little bit different. There's a lot of guys with I thought like Alex and Garrett looked very similar, and then spoiler alert, Alex gets voted off. And I was like, wait, is that Garrett? And I went back to check.
Oh, you had to check if that was Garrett?
I knew it wasn't, but I was just like, they just looked very similar.
Alex is the boat guy, right?
Yeah, I know.
that was my branding.
What a loss. So devastating. All you want in a mate is someone with a boat. Yeah. Take you out.
Did she even know that? Like, Becca didn't have all the info.
She truly does not. Do you think that she likes Lincoln or thinks that he is kind of a snake?
So she was receiving him well, but I think Lincoln made the classic mistake of past really sort of like egotistical participants where like when he was with her, he was like, "You're so great and you bring out the best in me." And then like she didn't get to tell him anything about herself.
She
and
asked a
there was no
really
chance for
important
connection.
question. She was like, what does it mean that it's the best, that I'm bringing out the best in you? Which I thought was like, cool, Becca.
Yeah.
Good for you.
She knows what she's doing.
She was treated like a job interview, kind of. And
I loved it.
And his answer was like totally fine and standard. He was like, but I'm so comfortable and like opening up and
Yeah.
whatever.
Bottom line is the conversation was about him, which is always the fatal flaw. You're like supposed to connect with the person, not just like give a speech about yourself.
Yeah, ask some questions.
Yeah.
Has anyone asked Becca a question about herself yet that we've seen?
I think Blake on the 101, maybe.
I like Blake.
He's cute.
He's cute.
He was a good smashing partner.
Oh, definitely. That date was weird. She got Little John. We're not ready to go there yet, though. We shall. Moving on to our next villain, Colton. A lot of news about Colton.
Wow.
So Colton dated Allie Raisman, and that has been out for a while. She's the gymnast, obviously.
Yeah.
And he starts by saying, I need to tell Becca something, and I don't know how it's going to go. And I was like, oh, is this going to be an Allie Raisman reveal?
Yeah.
Way juicier that I surprised was not more heavily discussed at casting. He dated Tia from last season.
Our fave.
I really like Tia.
This is a lot of exes for an alleged virgin.
I know. Maybe that's why they broke up. Because she was like, what? Wait?
Yeah, understandable.
No, thank you. Yeah, of course.
Becca was not so happy.
No, she was not happy about it at all. She was really shaken by it. And if it was like a guy who dated your friend, it'd be one thing. But another friend who's like on television is confusing.
Yeah. It seemed, to me, I immediately thought he was in the process of applying to this show and also dating Tia. And then when he found out he was going to be on the show, he was probably like, oh, can't go there. Yeah. That was my assumption. And I'm sure that was Becca's assumption too.
Yeah. And also the timeline is kind of confusing because I'm not sure when they dated. But I think it happened in between the time of Tia being on TV and then Becca's season starting. So that means it was sometime in between November 2017 and March 2018. So short window, and it's recent. So that's kind of weird. And
in the preview for the next episode, we see that Tia is going to be there.
Yeah.
It's like really, really stressful for everyone involved.
I know. They obviously did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I think they bring in the friends too soon. I've talked about this before. They need to like pair the guys need to be pared down more. So like Becca knows which ones that she should have her friends focus on.
Right.
And so I don't know. That's obviously very producer created drama.
I agree. I think it's probably not that big of a deal, but if I were Becca, I would be like, maybe I should get rid of him. I think the one thing that's keeping him on is that he is a former football player.
She keeps saying, I'm really attracted to you. So
yeah.
Which is kind of funny because she's the one that she said that to the most, and he's the one who won't have sex. So
right, it's a problem.
It's a real problem. Like if he makes it to the fantasy suites, like what do?
Just like
nothing, hang out.
Kiss.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe they don't always have sex, but like that. If she keeps saying I'm so attracted to you, so you obviously would just want to like bone.
Yeah, that's what he has going for him. That's in her eyes.
That's what's keeping him around.
Yeah,
absolutely, and he does stick around obviously for the Tia date that happens next week. And Tia was like part of the gaggle of gals after the final rose that were really supportive of her. Like they are close, I think.
Yeah.
Plus they both went far.
Yeah. I think there's probably still friends. I think Becca is probably just like, this is stressful for me. I don't know what to think about it.
It does suck. I'm curious to see what Tia says to her.
Yeah, me too. If she like apologizes or if she's just like, it wasn't a thing. We didn't have sex because he's a virgin.
What did you think about Garrett being the one that he's like narrating this to? Because Garrett's the one who like asks him the questions and he's like, Colton's like confiding in him before he tells Becca.
I thought it felt really staged to me. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Garrett obviously has become a main character already. Yeah. So he was like, I will play this role of like poking this drama and like, pushing it further. And to me, I was just like, you don't really seem that like concerned or an actual friend. No. Like, you can tell when they're actually getting along in their beds, but like these two were just like men inserted in a room to have a conversation.
Yeah, and they probably supplied him with the questions. Again, I wonder like if that's something that happened off camera and then they're like, oh, we need this. Let's do it on the show or something like that. If I were Colton, I would have waited longer. maybe he knew that Tia was coming next week or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure a producer probably tipped him off or something.
Yeah, because that's soon to reveal who your ex is.
Yeah, I mean, he's like in a really vulnerable state. Like he could have just been eliminated because Becca was upset. She eliminated the guy from her hometown.
Yeah, I know. She's tough. I like it. She's taking it really seriously.
I agree. She's been so good. I could do without the fake eyelashes.
Oh my God. Fake eyelashes are like the new hair extensions.
I agree.
How do they take over reality TV so quickly? Also, I've never really worn them, so I don't like know what they're like.
I've had to wear them a couple times. Like when I worked at Yahoo, they would put me on TV every once in a while and they would give me fake eyelashes. And you look like a completely different person. You look almost unrecognizable with fake eyelashes.
I just feel like if you have nice eyes, they overshadow your eyes, though. I know the point is they're supposed to like bring them out, but I feel like they end up looking so heavy you can't see the person's eyes.
It's distracting. It's just like so much action happening.
It really
above
is.
The eye.
I don't really get it. Like I don't think that it makes Becca look better. I think she styles herself better than she is styled by the show. She looked really. I did not like the bright red lipstick and like really shiny flat ironed hair for one of the group date cocktail parties.
It didn't look like her.
No, it didn't. And she's really pretty. It like made her look too severe. She needs like softer makeup and softer hair than that.
Are you talking about the one where she had like the orange jumpsuit as well?
Yeah, I think so. She's
that was
all
weird.
in on the jumpsuit.
I mean, like, I'm fine with her wearing a jumpsuit, but the color was off to me. I don't know.
Orange is not her best color. I think she's fucking hard on the metallics, no pun intended. Oh my God. She wears the shiny silver shorts for the dodgeball
That was
date.
overkill. That was a moment when I was like, a stylist has a plan. A stylist has a vision somewhere.
Yeah,
and
she wears,
Becca has no control.
She has the navy sequin dress at one point as well. She was showing a lot of cleavage, which I thought was a good look for her, actually, because she's so like
slender.
Naturally thin, obviously.
Yeah.
Just the metallics, though, is like really intense.
I agree. I think it's a little bit overkill. What's wrong with like a nice black dress?
I know.
Like, why does the Bachelorette wardrobe department like insist on making this as extra as possible?
I don't really get it. I'm not sure like what image they're trying to give her because she already had like such a good one and people liked her. I don't know. I think that they gotta go back to the one shoulder look for her. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Ultimately, neither Colton nor Lincoln were the villain of the week, though. The villain of the week and probably of the season is without a doubt Jordan. He is unbelievable. He gave like some ridiculous advice about how to dress. He undressed completely, and he just is so quotable, but it's completely ridiculous. So he also feuded with David. Maybe a red flag about David that he's like involved in the fights with both Jordan and Lincoln. It's
like a classic amateur move. Like, don't get sucked into it.
I know. You got to be above it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the right reasons guy, like the one who, like, narcs out your other fellow competitors.
It's like a guarantee to be sent home. I don't get why he's doing that.
Implicating yourself in the drama is just never, ever a good idea. I don't even know where to begin. What was your favorite Jordan moment? Or what was your most hurt? Like, you're like, oh my God, this guy. Oh my God. Hashtag this guy.
Just like everything he said didn't make sense. I think, like, one of the ones that I was like, this person makes up a lot of stuff in their head was he said, TikTok, let's make it rock.
Oh my God.
What is that from?
So good.
Like he just came up with that. And also he just like had a lot of thoughts about like how his face is his professionality, like a lot of stuff attached to like his own image and how important that is. I don't know, like, he's just an insane person.
He totally is. He also has been making up a lot of words. He was saying professionality in the scenes for next week. And this week, he used the word ingenuity. I think that's what he said.
It was like in an argument with David, I think.
He meant disingenuous, but he said ingenuity, and it was really dumb. And then he says just the most ridiculous thing, which is at the final cocktail party, he derobes, and he says the way to make a woman feel comfortable is by having her be next to like a naked body or something like that. That's like the way to make her feel like at ease or whatever,
right.
Which is the absolute opposite. It makes me think he's never been naked with a woman before.
Like one step further, and like that's a sex offender move.
Yeah,
like I'm sorry, that's not how you make a person comfortable.
Maybe naked with a woman who actually wanted you to be naked,
right?
Like there was no consent or something. That's a great point. It was so weird. He was like, I'm going to make her comfortable by taking off all my clothes. And he's wearing like really like small boxer briefs or whatever. And then he keeps his shoes on, which I found to be so disturbing.
It's like, why aren't you taking your shoes off? Are you so proud they make noise that you have to have them on it every second?
And like, do you think that's like funny? Was that part of like a gag? Did he think that's hot? I don't think he ever puts himself in a position to look bad. So I think he like physically, like not like, oh, that's a bad look, but like honestly, like he's considers himself like a very serious model. So I was assuming he thought that was like hot to like keep your shoes on.
Yeah.
But it was so awkward. I mean, the whole thing was awkward to begin with. And that was just dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I had to go look at his Instagram afterwards.
What'd you find out?
It's like every caption is either like a Kendrick Lamar lyric or like something like a subhead of a fashion catalog or something. Like cool and comfortable in fall colors or something like that.
Oh my God. He is so bad. He is obsessed with being a model. And at one point, David asked him, are you more than a model? Is there anything else to you?
No.
No. I don't think he also like thinks there's any need to be anything more than a model.
I think he's pretty proud of what he's done so far
Yeah, definitely.
in his life.
And then instead of putting his clothes back on, he wears like a furry blanket as like a shawl. It's like a Jon Snow like fur kind
I
of
liked that look
situation.
better than just the briefs.
Absolutely. And then she gives him a rose and he's like, put it between the cleavage. Like he's just really genuinely into himself. I don't think this is an act. You know, when you're on camera, you turn yourself up like to 110% of who you are or whatever. But I think this is just mostly him.
Yeah, I agree. And just the way that he speaks to the camera and he speaks to everyone else, the logic makes sense to him. Like in his world, like all of it is kosher and good and like the right thing to do. So, you know, live your truth, Jordan.
I guess so. But please keep your clothes on while doing it. He's pretty unbelievable. And on his Instagram, he also kind of looks different to me. Like his stature looks a little bit
It might
bigger
be like
or something.
the Photoshop.
Maybe. You're saying he might know how to manipulate pictures of himself? What?
I feel like he's like the exact model you would use for Tommy Bahama or something.
Oh, totally. Even Tommy Hilfiger at this point, I can see him being in those ads too. He also won't admit to like being into himself or wanting attention. In fact, he says, I wore my underwear, bro. That's not me trying to get attention. I don't think he understands what it means to be naked or to be nearly nude.
Yeah, maybe he's a never nude.
Maybe. He might be a never nude.
We've got one on The Bachelor finally after all these seasons.
Let's get him some jean shorts and see what happens. He's just like, he's too much. I'm not really a fan of his.
I mean, he clearly had to stay on because he's entertaining and there's
Good
beefs
quote.
he needs to, you know.
Really good quote.
Yeah.
I wonder when she'll get sick of him. I predict he goes on a 2-on-1 and goes home that way.
Yeah. Becca, her reactions to him were sort of just like vague entertainment.
You can tell that she's getting him in such small doses because she's not horrified. Yeah. And like if you spent more than like 2 minutes with him, you'd probably be like, okay, you've got to go.
Yeah, I think she thinks he's just being silly, like for attention, as opposed to like that's actually him. And there's going to be a moment when she's like, oh, wait.
It seems like she wants to be amused. Like she likes the guys who are keeping her entertained, like that she's having fun with. Like she just went through a breakup. Like she wants to keep it light.
Yeah, it's like dance for me, clown.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the reasons she gets so upset about all the conflict this week is because she doesn't want to deal with more conflict after coming off the Ari stuff.
Yeah, and at the very least, Jordan wasn't starting anything.
That's true. And again, I think she got like no one-on-one time with him.
Right.
So that she didn't have to worry about or wasn't subjected to his like crazy like sayings and his advice for people.
Yeah, and I mean like he is like vaguely attractive if you don't know his personality.
If you don't know anything. If you don't know anything about him and he keeps his mouth shut and he keeps his clothes on.
Didn't date
not
Tia.
Bad. It's true. Didn't date Tia. Ultimately, he's the ultimate like wrong reasons guy though. He's clearly there for the fame and won't admit it.
Yes,
I
definitely.
mean, a lot of them seem like they are though.
On his Instagram story, it was just like screenshot after screenshot of things people had written about him in the most recent episode.
Oh, God. So he's salty and keeping track.
Yeah.
I also think that I guess he'll just go to paradise like right away. Just that like don't even go home, dude. Just go straight to Mexico.
We'll be healthy
out.
for his tan.
Yeah, it's exactly the way he wants to be. I can't stand him. I want to talk more about Becca and just sort of how she's doing as the Bachelorette. But first, let's talk about today's sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Ben & Jerry's. Summer is fast approaching, which means that we'll all be searching for ways to stay cool. Perfect timing because Ben & Jerry's has a new line of frozen novelties called Pint Slices. Everyone knows Ben & Jerry's for their delicious ice cream and a wide range of iconic flavors. With huge chunks and swirls surrounded by Ben & Jerry's legendary ice cream and enrobed in chocolate coating, Pint Slices are everything you love about your favorite pint of Ben & Jerry's sliced. Available in 7 iconic flavors, including the Tonight Dough, Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough, Cherry Garcia, and Americone Dream, one slice gives you all of Ben & Jerry's. Plus, their convenient handheld format makes them a great on-the-go snack. Whether you are poolside or cruising along the coast, no spoon? No problem. I love Ben & Jerry's. I know that I'll be having American Cone Dream and Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough all summer long. Maybe even at the beach with that great slice of ice cream just between my fingers. I can taste it now. It's going to be great. If you want the same experience, find these Ben & Jerry's Pint Slices. It's Ben & Jerry's any way you slice it. Find out where to buy or get them delivered at benjerry.com. That's benjerry.com. Today's episode is also sponsored by Everlywell. Let's be real, finding the time to get a lab test is almost impossible, not to mention figuring out how much it'll cost or what your results mean. But now it's easy to order the tests you want at everlywell.com. Everlywell is an at-home health testing company that offers a variety of tests, from food sensitivity, which measures your sensitivity to 96 different foods that may be causing discomfort, to metabolism, to an at-home STD test. Yep, you can test for STDs all at home. Each test is physician-reviewed, private, simple, and processed through a certified lab. All you have to do is head to everlywell.com, choose your tests, and they'll be shipped directly to your doorstep. Once you collect your sample and send it back to Everlywell's certified lab partner, you'll get your doctor-reviewed, easy-to-read results online in just days. Everlywell is so convenient. No more sitting in waiting rooms, no more mystery bill, and no more waiting on your results. Head to everlywell.com and use promo code BACHELOR to take 15% off your first order. That's everlywell.com, promo code BACHELOR for 15% off your first order. Take control of your health today with Everlywell's at-home health tests, your tests on your time and on your terms. Okay, Alyssa, how are you feeling about Becca in general as our Bachelorette?
I like her.
You do?
I think she's doing a good job. She is asking hard questions, as we mentioned before.
Yes.
She's enjoying the challenges. Like, she smashed a bunch of memories of her and Ari. The fact that the show brought that up in the first place might have not been her favorite thing, but she went with it.
I feel like that's not fair.
Yeah.
So it's also like a big change. Like when they used to do The Real World and they would go season to season, they would edit out any mention of like previous seasons. Like it would try to be like a small contained thing. And reality TV has changed so much, obviously, that like every show is like kind of like its own snow globe. And like,
continued narrative.
Yeah. And of course the show has leaned into like the whole Bachelor Nation idea. And they don't just treat it like one-to-one. But I feel like when you're trying to start like on a new relationship, like you want to be able to tell Blake in this case about like your exes, and then she's like not given the opportunity to do that. And like of course everyone watched it unfold on TV anyway.
Yeah,
but it's like there's so much carryover from her heartbreak into the beginning of this season, and that I think that kind of sucks for her.
Yeah, the first scene of the first episode was her crying from the breakup
on her bed.
Like, God, and then like all the men brought like cardboard cutouts of Ari. Like he's still very much a character in the show. So to like
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks for her.
So especially I thought the part of the smashing thing that I thought went overboard. One, the actual couch from the breakup. It's like, oh my God, really? You guys transported the couch that you planted there so you could film the breakup? Like, Craven.
Absolutely. And also, it was recent. Like, that probably was like 10 days after. Or no, it wasn't. It was like 3 months later. 2 months later.
Right. So, like, they preserved the couch?
I know. And did they get it out of, like, presumably the Airbnb?
They bought it from the
Or was it just, like, a duplicate or something like that?
Right. I was very suspicious about the couch. And then the, like, multiple monitors where Ari was proposing to her.
Yeah, that's
like,
rough.
That would have really set off emotions for me.
Yeah, I know. Like, she talked about being triggered. And at some point about, like, things that made her upset or things that made her cry. And, like, how that is not one of them is really bizarre. Like, I would have been uncomfortable also like watching myself on TV with this guy that she definitely seems really into.
Yeah.
She's definitely into Blake. So just to be clear, their date was they went to like a warehouse and they just smashed all this shit that was related to her and Ari.
It's a type of business too. You can go and smash things.
Is that?
There was one in San Diego when I went to school there. Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's like a place to take out your aggression.
Yeah, they don't actually like specialize it for your exes. And it's like, like glassware and stuff.
I've never heard of that.
It's really fun.
Oh, cool. She should have gone with Colton. I'm sure he's got aggression if he's not having sex.
It's just like so much pent up sexual energy.
So, he needs to let out. Blake got the date though, and they put on these like coveralls, like a jumpsuit basically. First of all, Blake called it a onesie. Like I don't think he knows the word jumpsuit, which I kind of thought was funny, but also I'm just like, are you dumb? Or did you just forget the word on the spot? I don't know. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, my favorite part of that was they styled Becca.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. They gave her like a belt to show off a defined waist, and they rolled up the legs to like show off her ankles. And I was like, did she get like a what not to wear makeover?
It was really funny.
Did you ever watch that show?
Yes,
because they always really talk about have a defined waist to give yourself like a nice shape or whatever. And I was like, whoever did this styling is a Stacey and Clinton acolyte.
I was really impressed. It was like she looked great.
Yeah, she did look good, and it seemed like they had a nice date. He's definitely a front runner to me, based on last week when he said that like he knows he has so much to give and she empathized. And traditionally on the show, getting the first one-on-one is pretty meaningful.
Yeah, I mean the story he told her on like their dinner after the smashing was that he had told a girl that he loved her, and then the girl like broke up with him.
Yeah, so this is actually
kind of
a good 21st
clear.
century story, which is he was really into this girl, and then they were back at her apartment, and she was in the bathroom, and he was in her bedroom when the phone was nearby, and I guess she doesn't have the preview turned off on her text messages.
So dumb.
Rookie mistake. People who allow – I actually find it to be mostly married people who are like, well, I have nothing to hide. But when you allow the preview of the message to show on the lock screen – just always a bad idea. You got to turn that off, people. Because in Blake's case, his ex did not turn off the preview, and so he saw her friends texting her, like asking if she'd broken up with him yet. That's a really shitty way to find out you're about to be dumped.
It's really brutal.
I know. I felt bad for him. I think he's cute, and I also think he's like attainable cute. Like he looks like someone you could see at a bar, but he's actually like much more handsome than most of the population. And that's usually a key to success on the show.
Definitely. I agree. And he's also like emotionally forthcoming.
I know. I actually really like him. He's definitely my favorite. I think he's cute.
Really? He's your favorite so far?
I like his color blocking sweatshirt too. I like Leo and Blake are just like, they don't even exist in the same world.
Yeah, true.
Like they're just such different humans. But I thought Blake was wearing a great color blocking sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he just seems like very kind.
He was also so along for the ride. He was like, I don't know what we're doing today, but I'm just so happy to be here. And that's the right attitude to have.
He is really emotionally forthcoming. That's a good point. He was talking about how he was like really nervous and then he was feeling better. And I think you have to do that to be on the show. Normally, it's better to win someone over by being emotionally withholding until you break them. But on this show,
that's a better strategy on The Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly.
I.e. Lauren.
Yeah, don't speak a word and force them to wonder how special you are. Basically, definitely the best Becca we got. I thought was when she was with Blake, which is also like one of the reasons I like him.
Yeah,
she seemed comfortable with him.
Definitely.
They went to Warwick for the dinner portion of their one-on-one.
Trendy.
And it's a club which has like two gigantic, at least the last time I was there, probably has changed. I haven't been there in years. It has these two gigantic portraits of naked women. Like they're gigantic, like floor to ceiling, and the ceilings are very high. And one of them was Emily Ratajkowski. So I noticed they took those down. I wonder if
that was not in
they're
the
gone
shot
all the time or whatever. But that was like that's a weird place to have a one-on-one. I mean, I kind of get it. It's like an open space, and like I guess like a club is good for that. But
it was empty completely.
Oh yeah, it wasn't like a club. It wasn't like they went to like bottle service together.
That would be a hilarious date.
That would be funny if they just like sent them out to like the Sunset Strip.
Yeah,
and be like, guys, see how it goes for you.
It's like,
yeah. I bet Becca's fun to go out with.
Yeah, totally.
Are you
metallics?
Yeah, she would blend right in. Are you a Blake fan?
I love Blake. I'm gunning for him. I think that he did a great job on this date, and I think the main challenge now is that he got the storied first one-on-one, and now he has to wait and like see if there's more connection because time will pass and she'll forget about him.
I know, and he'll probably like, take a back seat as there's more drama.
Yeah,
basically. Oh man, there are also some other interesting locations in addition to Saddle Rock Ranch and Warwick. One of the cocktail parties, I think it was the second group date, was at the Four Seasons in Westlake Village, which is in the Valley. And also on the property, apparently, is the the California Longevity Institute. I believe that's the name of it.
California Health and Longevity.
Thank you. And it's basically just like a spa that is. I was checking it out. That like peddles expensive packages to you as like a way of like as like a lifestyle like retreat kind of thing. It's the most California bullshit.
When you sent me the link to this site, I was like, I want to go there.
Yeah. I mean, they're celebrating Global Wellness Day on June 9th from 8 to 12. And it's like
a very important holiday in California.
Yeah. Global Wellness Day. Stop what you're doing and take a yoga class. And they have like signature retreats, but I just was like, this is so cheesy. It was also for when they went to Warwick, they did like a lower third for it. They didn't show the sign. I guess that's because Warwick probably doesn't have a sign. A lot of clubs don't, but like I don't know why. But I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, like we're supposed to know what that is if we're not like if we're Middle America people.
No one would know unless like you go to Warwick, and I'm embarrassed that I've been like 2 times. But I guess they probably had a great time on their own or something. Let's talk about Garrett. We've been circling around this.
Oh, Garrett has a problem.
Garrett is a problem. So Garrett did not get a ton of screen time this week, but he's the kind of the top of the Bachelorette conversation for the last week because it came out that he liked several photos that were anti-immigrant, pro-Tomi Lahren, and just sort of aligning himself with several right-wing causes. And Becca, as you wrote, Alyssa, has proven to in the past has been a feminist and Hillary Clinton supporter.
Went to the Women's March.
And I think he liked a picture making fun of feminists at one point.
Yeah, when it was like showing like what a conservative woman looked like and what a left-wing feminist looked like, and you know,
it's very tough. And this came out from social media because someone who followed him like went to this account and saw that he had liked all of them. And you wrote about this for the site this week.
I did. I argued that because we now in the modern dating world have to do our due diligence about the people we date and see what their online personas are about and make sure they're not conspiracy theorists, that the Bachelor and Bachelorette should be afforded the same luxury.
They really should. They should integrate it into a different in somehow. Like,
yeah.
You suggested having it be like a part of like I think the Final Four.
Right before Hometowns.
Yeah.
Like a segment called like Social Media Station.
Yeah. They could get sponsored by like Twitter or something.
Totally. Yeah. They could get some good sponsors for this. And I think that it would be like super juicy because you would see the contestant sort of like learn about who these people are in the real world for the first time. And then that could be combined with them having to confront like issues about their family. Like it would be the reality check date, basically.
Sort of like that's the purpose of what the Hometown's supposed to be, is like what it would be like if we were together and this was my family. And like they should be given more information to actually do that. Exactly.
And so now this whole week, Becca in interviews has been defending Garrett.
Yeah, coincidentally, her LA press week was this week, so she's had to talk about it basically.
Yeah, I don't know why she would defend him if he wasn't someone who went far, but that's another topic for another time.
Yeah, like why she's not distancing herself from it if she. I mean, maybe one thing is she A, doesn't care, and B, why she's not like opting to distance herself from it given the opportunity to do so.
Right, but my whole point is that she's fine to make that decision. Like if she wanted to choose Garrett in the end, even with this knowledge, that's fine. But she should be given that knowledge because the audience has access to it and the audience judges her really hard.
Yeah. Exactly. It's sort of like it's almost like the lead has nothing to gain because they're going to be so judged for what they do. But she also she gave some bad quotes. Like the Hollywood Reporter has one from her that says, "I can't fault anyone for what they believe, and who's to say that anything that anyone likes is truly what they believe in if they just double tap." And like, okay, fine, maybe a double tap, you just like there's tons of reasons why you like a picture. But I can't fault anyone for what they believe. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like that is actually the basis of how you decide who to surround yourself with.
Right.
And who you choose to have in your life does reflect on you.
And these like Instagram posts that he liked were pretty hateful.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty bad. And just like disappointing because she seems like such a forward-thinking woman and pretty and just really pretty progressive. For lack of a better term.
Well, and the way she sort of stood up to the guys on the show and questioned them and sort of interrogated who they are as people doesn't seem to be reflected in how she's responding to this.
Yeah.
So it's incongruent.
Yeah. I honestly think that this whole episode suggests to me that whoever she picks, like, it won't work out. Just because it doesn't seem like it seems like she's kind of like very workmanlike about in some ways, like asking the right questions and sort of like interrogating them, but only really like for the likes the fun ones. And I don't know. I kind of think this is indefensible. If she believes like what she says she does. And not to say we know everything about her, but I feel like she will not end up with this person too soon after Ari. It's just my take.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's shadowing over her. But The Bachelorette definitely needs to change. The whole franchise needs to change social media rules, because it does hurt the pool of people that can be on it, because there are so many of like just the looking for fame Instagram people. And then there's also just the people who know that like this will raise their profile even if they're not trying to like sell FabFitFun boxes. But
My favorite kind of box.
Someone like John, the Venmo guy, it's like he's in the digital space. So there is something for him to be gained for like getting more notoriety on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think John needs anything else. I think John is super rich.
Yes, he definitely is. The other thing is they also like they need to have rules about when you can go back on social media. Like everyone who's on the show should be prevented from using social from the day filming begins to the day the entire production wraps. So that way you can't tell when someone gets back and when they get voted off. Like there's so much information out there about how the show works now, and like I'm part of that ecosystem. They need to protect against like how viewers find out, basically.
Yeah, and I thought like, oh, there was no way to control it, but you were telling me earlier that like they do that with the Survivor contestants.
On Survivor, if you get voted off before the merge, because the people who make the merge are then on the jury and have to stay to the very end. If you get voted off beforehand, they take you on a trip. So you're kind of just like you're out of the mix for 40 days no matter what if you go on Survivor. The Bachelor needs to do something similar. Like you can go home fine because people don't really. Yeah, it's not as big of a concern, but you can tell who gets voted off the first week by how long they're off social media, basically.
Yeah, you like do that conspiracy theory board all the time and come up with those answers. So.
Yeah, or make them all go private, so at least it's harder to figure out.
Right, like put it in their contract that they won't get paid.
Because they're not allowed to talk about the show until they're voted. They can't do any press until they're voted off, basically. So like there are some stipulations about being on it. I just think they need to be stricter.
Yeah, my question is sort of like, would some of the lesser known characters really lose out on their opportunity to gain followers and sort of perpetuate their celebrity image?
They would, yes.
Yeah. So I think that might be like sort of the tension.
Sure. But I think it also could be helpful because then you wouldn't get the Jordans necessarily. But
the producers want the Jordans.
Yeah. So the producers want the Jordans. They could, I guess, like keep it so they stay. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is a real conundrum. And I think your point about like she should have all the information that you would have when you're dating otherwise is a really good one. Like let her meet more friends and let her like see what they're like. Just let her do a Google deep dive. Like anyone you're really interested in, like that's what you do. Like it's just part of dating.
Definitely. And I think that like The Bachelor could also do this in a way that makes it not super raw.
Yeah. Like
they could turn it into sort of like a mediated thing where they introduce a friend they want to meet. Yeah. And it doesn't have to just be like her typing away in a dark room. You know what I mean? Like some hacker scene.
Yeah, that would be funny though. It would be, I don't know, it would be like an interesting experiment to like watch someone after she gets to know them like for a long time, like for, you know, in a very specific way. It's kind of like being shot out of the bubble. It's like after you like are only given certain information, then you're given like all the context or whatever.
Yeah, but it's a really relatable thing in everyday life.
Of course. Absolutely. Anytime like someone new comes across like my transom, I Google them. I'm a quick trigger finger when it comes to Google though. Like a new name, I'm like, okay, I'll Google that. Sure. No probs. Unfortunately, I think we'll be having a lot of Garrett because of the reasons you said. Like she's just really defending him and it's tough.
He has a cute smile though.
I know. I'm also just like, do I give him the benefit of the doubt? I don't really know how to reconcile it as a viewer of the show.
This is the other thing. He's from Reno, and I hate to like isolate Reno listeners.
I'm mean to cities all the time.
But like Reno is kind of known for its like really backward politics, and it's just like not a great place.
Sure, it's a red county in Nevada.
Yeah, exactly.
In a state that's contested. It's tough. I'm sure there'll be more of this to come.
Yeah.
Let's talk about people we like. Let's give out our final rose of the week.
Okay.
I think we collectively want to give our rose to Leo.
I love Leo.
The dodgeball man.
Oh my
I
God.
love Leo too. He's funny.
He was so brave on the dodgeball stadium floor. So he was really proud of himself too, which I liked. He was on the pink team, right? Mm-hmm. There was like the green team versus the pink team. And everyone on his team was getting out. By the way, we never saw John Graham of VC fame like once in this whole thing. And I really think it's because like...
Put that man behind a computer, not behind the dodgeball line.
But Leo was shining because Leo's the stunt man, and he was just like taking it. He was like dodging the balls, and he was throwing them back, and he was like taking his hair out and like sort of shaking it around and
he
putting
uses
it back
his
in a
hair
bun.
for maximum effect, and I really applaud it. I'm really into Leo. He's fun. He's like he's a performer, so he like knows how to be on camera, and it pays off. It's like fun to watch him. He's handsome. The hair is like a little bit much for me, but he makes it work.
And he's a lot, but not in like a super annoying bro-y way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really into Leo. I hope we get more of him. I'm going to give him like maximum to episode 5.
Oh, so sad. I don't even want to think about him getting kicked off.
Doesn't seem like she's that into him. Like, I think she's amused by him, but she's not really attracted to him.
Yeah, she more just like stands next to him and laughs.
She likes the clean-cut athletes. She's not into like Leo, who's a little bit like edgier, basically.
For sure.
I'm really into it, though. Leo, you've got 2 fans at least. I also like Jean Blanc.
Yeah, Jean Blanc is good. I mean, I think he's the cologne expert, right?
Colognosaur.
He
got a rose on the first group date.
Yes, and he was good. He like stayed out of the drama, and he was just sort of like trying to get to know Becca. I think he might be like a little boring. Yeah, I don't really care. Like, I don't care about his life.
Becca might be a little boring, though. I feel like she's going to end up with a boring guy.
Yeah, I mean, the front runners so far are a little boring.
Yeah, Blake is like so milquetoast. Garrett is like, his weird impression from his opening package and in the premiere, like, I can't get past. But he clearly just sort of sucks.
Yeah. Not that Clay is my favorite, but what did you think about Clay's like his football?
I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
During the cocktail.
Good trick to get someone to kiss you.
She kissed a lot of them, like a lot. I'm worried about Clay. He seems like a little bit too nice and normal, and I just feel like he's going to get crushed somehow.
Yeah, he seems really, really sweet.
I'm going to put Clay in top 6. Yeah, he's super sweet. He taught her like a touchdown celebration dance and kissed her.
She was bad at the dance, by the way.
That was cute, though. And she obviously just like really likes athletes, which, hey, girl, I relate.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, he does. I'm worried about him. Like, I feel like he's just a good dude, and it's not going to work out for him.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, you know, Colton is the one with the cystic fibrosis foundation, but like I kind of feel like Clay is actually the sweetie at heart.
Absolutely. So someone actually DM'd me, having done some research into the foundation of Colton, and let me just read from this DM. Thanks to the tipster, I really appreciate it. And he said, or she said, I actually don't know. I followed the money on Colton's foundation, and you might be interested to know it's a vanity project at best. In plain English, the foundation started in 2016 and raised about $35,000 from a charity dinner, which cost $24,000 to put on. So very little went to the actual charity. And he or she added, for what I'm worth, someone with cystic fibrosis. I know someone with cystic fibrosis, and those treatment vests run up to $15,000 each. So Colton is like, as I suspected, doing this for show.
Yeah. One caveat to that, which I will say, is that I wrote a thing about like charities in the internet world, and they actually have that trouble like all the time, like throwing expensive dinners and then not really raising that much. Like, it's not an uncommon thing for a charity to be kind of useless.
Sure.
So that's my only defense to him. But I agree generally with the sentiment of that tip.
Yeah. And like, that's the problem with like how charities are run in America.
Exactly.
I would say.
Yeah.
So Colton,
so that's my one caveat to that.
That's a problem. Like, yes, you're right. That is a problem. That's like not only Colton, but he's like made it like his calling card. I mean, his calling card now.
He named the foundation after himself.
Yeah.
Not his niece who has cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not feeling great about Colton.
Yeah, me
and
neither.
Unfortunately, I think he goes far because the Virgin stuff will have to be addressed like far in the future.
I mean, he's really dodging a lot of scandals.
I know. I also like David. The even though I find
love
him to
David.
be a little bit too convenient of a narrator, but I like David too.
He's totally like a signed narrator, but
he seems the most normie to me.
yeah,
just like you'd meet him out in the wild.
Definitely.
Could see him at a bar.
He's super chill. Like, he can just kind of hang with any situation. He seems to get along with all of the guys.
Not scared of conflict, which I also like.
Yeah, I mean, his question to Jordan was hilarious. Like,
Totally fair.
Are you anything but a model?
That's really good. The only issue is he's going to be the right reasons guy and tell her,
Oh, God.
I don't think he's here for the right reason.
It's just such a classic mistake, and I just thought he was, like, smarter than that. I mean, maybe...
He's young. He's 25.
Yeah.
What does he know? 25 is like a baby. Although, you know, maybe Becca wants a younger man.
How old is she again?
She's 27, I think. I don't know. He's good. I'm rooting for him. I wonder how much longer he has.
I want him to stay on as long as possible. I would love to see him on an international trip.
Me too. Me too. He's the VC from Denver too, so also like likely rich.
Yeah.
I wonder how much she knows about people's like occupations and stuff.
Yeah, it's because it's like, again, this is another thing. It's like in the practical real world, like what kind of life she wants to be. Like that might be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's not like what's your job, but sort of like how much do you work and like how important is work to you? Like those are things that you suss out early on in a relationship that's impossible to tell when you're like in isolation.
Right. Like just do our weekly schedules line up?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, are you a 9 to 5er? Like, are you like busy most nights?
Can we binge watch a Netflix series together?
Can we Netflix and chill? Are you available? Oh man, I'm feeling positive about Becca. I just hope we get more Leo. Leo.
Yeah, I mean, also the challenge that they put him in was just like made for Leo.
Tailored for Leo.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Alyssa, thank you so much for being my guest this week.
It was a pleasure.
Be back next week as always. I got a real heat rock of a guest. I'm not going to reveal it because I'm excited and also don't want to jinx it. I certainly won't be as good as you though. Thank you so much. Thanks again for listening. This has been Bachelorette Party and I am Juliette Littman. I'll be back on Thursday with the B-side. And until then, don't forget to check out Ben and Jerry's Pint Slices. Ben and Jerry's has a new line of frozen novelties called Pint Slices, which are made up of huge chunks and swirls surrounded by Ben & Jerry's legendary ice cream, all enrobed in a chocolate coating. Available in 7 iconic flavors, including the Tonight Dough, Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough, Cherry Garcia, and American Dream. One slice gives you all of Ben & Jerry's. Plus, their convenient handheld format makes them a great on-the-go snack. It's Ben & Jerry's any way you slice it. Find out where to buy or get them delivered at benjerry.com. I'd also like to thank Everlywell. Finding the time to get a lab test is almost impossible, but now it is easy to order the test you want at everlywell.com. Everlywell is an at-home health testing company that offers a variety of physician-reviewed private tests from food sensitivity to metabolism to thyroid. No more sitting in waiting rooms or waiting on your results. Head to everlywell.com and use promo code BACHELOR to take 15% off your first order. Everlywell, your test on your time and on your terms.